Welcome back. In the crossfire tonight, Representative Adam Schiff and Senator Ron Johnson. We're only 16 hours from the Olympics opening ceremonies, and CNN has just learned the TSA is banning all carry-on liquids on flights heading to Russia. But the most important competition at the Sochi Olympics may not involve any of the athletes. It is the very hard, very real competition between security forces and terrorists. You know, both President Bush and President Obama have suggested at times that we're winning the war on terror. It is simply not true. Here is the scariest example I've read in a long time. We're just learning details about an attack in Silicon Valley last April. A group of snipers shot out 17 transformers at an electrical substation, knocking it out for a month. They got away. The FBI, as of today, has no idea who they were. From Silicon Valley to Boston to Sochi, this planet is not getting safer. And let me say, before I ask you about the events in your home state, what I found particularly sobering were the estimates that this was, in fact, a training exercise. And yet there has been no effort, I think, at a national level to really respond aggressively to the possibility that you may have a whole group of people out there trying to think through how to take down our electrical system. Now, as a Californian, what was your reaction when you got briefed on the Silicon Valley incident?
Well, I think it's quite staggering when you consider the sophistication of the attack and how little we still know about what took place, whether this was an act of domestic terrorism like the Oklahoma City bombing, whether this was preparation for something more sophisticated later. But it just kind of brings home the fact that when we talk about Sochi and we talk about soft targets outside the city, we have lots of soft targets here. And some of those power stations are among the softest targets, and the damage they could do is extraordinary. I had a breakfast this morning with Secretary of Defense Hagel, and one of the top issues that he raised, one of his paramount concerns, is cyber. You know, this attack on our infrastructure could have brought down our energy grid. Similarly, you might be able to do the same thing through a cyber attack.
Right.
It's a
Although we
different face
spend
of
more
terrorism.
energy on the cyber problem. But let me ask you a follow-up for a second, which is, it strikes me that the Department of Homeland Security, in the story that related to this, said protecting these kind of stations isn't our responsibility. Now, if we lose the electrical grid, the fact that the Secretary of Homeland Security come in and say, we planned for a cyber attack but not a physical attack, so it's not our fault because we didn't do so, doesn't it just seem to you that we ought to have a much more militant and much more aggressive response to this, and that the Congress ought to be holding the Department of Homeland Security's feet to the fire on what is our preparation? Also, the fact that these are very hard to replace and take a long time to replace. We clearly don't have an adequate stockpile to replace them if there was a serious attack. Shouldn't we be more aggressive in responding to this?
Well, I think we have to be more aggressive in responding not only to this, but to the need to protect all of our critical infrastructure. Honestly, I don't understand the statement that it's not part of the core mission of the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot depends on who was trying to carry out this attack, but it's very much in the homeland. It has very much of a national security impact. It could be absolutely devastating to our economy, and it could be devastating to operations of hospitals run on power, even though they may have backups and other critical first responders. So I think it's really part and parcel of their mission, and there are a lot of other targets like that that we need to be protecting far better than we do now.
Senator, to that point, there are obviously threats abroad. There are so many threats here. Given that, isn't this the time the United States should be investing more in our intelligence and our protection capacities through the FBI and the CIA rather than cutting their funding as you and Republicans have voted to do?
It's a dangerous world, and our best defense is a robust intelligence gathering capability. And you know, part of the problem is when you have all these instances, when you have an administration that minimizes the threat. You know, we can get in these debates: is it terrorism? Is it international? What we need to understand is this is a dangerous world.
So then why,
and the American people,
why cut the CIA and
listen,
FBI's funding?
Well, what we need to do is prioritize spending. The first role of government is national defense. But when we are spending all this money that we don't have, creating all these deficits, threatening potentially a spike in interest rates that would totally consume our budget if we start returning to historical interest rates.
So
it's a matter of...
You just said national security was the top priority.
It is. So we have to prioritize spending. We got to stop the deficit spending. We got to get control over our debt and deficits. But there's no doubt about it. We need a robust intelligence gathering capability. And what we need is we need the American public to actually trust our government and have faith in the administration that we're not going to be snooping on Americans, that we're not going to be utilizing the IRS as a weapon against Americans.
It would be nice to see Republicans voting as though
Let me
protecting
ask,
our intelligence
I
capacity was the most
understand
important thing.
that
Yes.
for liberals/progressives, that more money is always an answer. But Congressman, here's the thing that troubles me about this, and part of why I raised the issue about the enormous challenge the Russians have. We have spent since 9/11 an estimated $4 trillion plus on the various aspects of national security, homeland security, et cetera. I think we are not particularly safer. In fact, I would argue we're clearly not safer, that the threat is mutating at a faster rate than our ability to respond. Isn't part of the problem here a relentless rethinking of our bureaucracies and a willingness to really cut through? I mean, we have, I think, 16 intelligence departments, for example. It just strikes me as sort of madness.
Well, certainly we need to do a far better job using the resources that we have. Part of this is a resource question. Part of it is, are we structured to confront the new challenge we have? Now, you say we're not safer. I think we're safer from the mega attack like we saw on 9/11. I think we're safer from the core of al-Qaeda and that kind of massive coordinated attack. What we're not safer from are the one-off, the spin-offs, the Boston Marathon bombings, the potential shoe bombings, underwear bombings, and now toothpaste bombings. Those threats have really proliferated. Syria is now becoming the new Afghanistan, the new training ground, the new magnet for jihadis. We may be dealing for the next 10 or 15 years with the fallout of Syria, just as we have been dealing for the last 2 decades with the fallout in Afghanistan. So the problems have mushroomed. The question is, are we marshaling our resources in the best way to deal with that new phenomenon? And how are we balancing that with the so-called pivot to Asia? From my point of view, I would try to reorient our Defense Department and our focus on not massive occupations, because we're not going to do another Iraq or Afghanistan, but being able to stand up the capacity in some of these other countries. So like in Mali, they can take the fight to the terrorists within their own ranks. And trying to have a smart, better, faster, cheaper defense in these diminished budgetary days.
Newt, Senator, you're both saying what should feel refreshing, which is that there's this important role for government to play in keeping us safe. Newt, you're saying we should be protecting our vital infrastructure more. Where's government? Why aren't they doing that? And Senator, you're saying foreign policy and our domestic security should be our number one priority.
We should do less in other areas.
And yet, let's, not to forget the $232 million in funding that you, sir, voted to cut from the FBI's budget, but also more broadly, that's not bureaucracy. Those are men and women who are protecting us. Those are FBI agents. Those are police officers. Those are people listening in on
threats. The Senate is so dysfunctional. Nobody's specifically voting to cut individual programs. You're getting a Hobson's choice of here's a 1,500-page omnibus spending bill. Vote yes or no. So the fact of the matter is, homegrown terrorism is a huge threat, and the Department of Homeland Security is a utterly dysfunctional bureaucracy itself. I mean, you really have to take a look at the history of that, and should we really bureaucratized our security? Was there a better way of doing it? Is there a better way to streamline? Is there a better way to prioritize spending within the federal government? There must be. Trust me.
It's nice to at least hear a defense of government coming from Republicans. Stay here. Next, our outrages of the day. And believe it or not, I'm outraged at President Obama today. I'll tell you why in a minute. We also want you at home to weigh in on today's Fireback question. Would you feel safe traveling to Sochi? Tweet yes or no using #Crossfire. We'll have the results after the break.